Yes, yes, go ahead.
Okay. So this is our organization structure basically. So what does this mean is that if at all I'm implementing for any company, so how this company will be formed as a company. So let's say I have, so in this case I have taken a Reliance Group, even though Reliance doesn't have business in US, so we have taken this for our understanding. So here, if you look at it, so we have Reliance Group on top, which means a business group. So business group doesn't limit to one, so we can create more than one also. So provided the country is different. So for the same country, I cannot have two different business group. Okay. So let's say I have a requirement wherein, so I'm not getting into the finance part of it. So let's keep this only with respect to payroll and the HRMS and the employee maintenance. So let's say I have a business in India and I have business in US. So in this case, what I will do is that I have the payroll processing for both the India and US separately. So I cannot run for US sitting in India because the currency and all those conversions will change. Okay. So for this reason, what I will do is that, so here I have listed few finance terms, that is ledger, legal entity and these things. So here, let's say I have operations in India, and what I will do is that I will create one business group as India and another business group as US. And what I will do is that I will consolidate and I will have the legal entities defined. So, on what basis we are defining this legal entity is based on the registration or the tax compliance. So, for example, if you take India scenario, we don't have multiple legal entities created. The reason being is that under GST regime, we will not create or we will not register our company in multiple states because the taxation becomes one. So, if I'm purchasing something in Tamil Nadu, it will be same as Delhi. So, similarly, overall India will have one tax regime. But whereas if we take the case of US, I will not have the same taxation regime and the calculation. So probably New York will have different set of taxation and California will have different set of taxation. There are multiple possibilities. So for this case, what we will do is that we will create multiple legal entities. So here in the second case, if you see, we might have different legal entities also. But for India case, we will have one legal entity. So under that, we have the operating unit. So OU is nothing but operating unit. So now what exactly is operating unit? So operating unit is nothing but the entity which generates either the revenue or it incurs the expense. Okay, so this is the basic definition for OU. Okay, so this is our structure. So now here, where we will fit in our HR organization is that we will fit in here. That is for India ledger. Okay. So under this, I can create a global HRMS entity. So wherein I can perform my payroll processing. Similarly, I will create another HR organization for my US entity. Again, under this, let's say I have a different line of business. Let's say Reliance is into IT, Reliance into energy, Reliance into communication, so other businesses. So now, so this is happening in both India and US. So in this case, if I want to split it out, I mean the payroll based on the businesses also, so I can do it very well using creating the child organization. So what we will do is that we will create the organization hierarchy. So using organization hierarchy, so what we can do is that basically we can consolidate and we can see the complete payroll process and the respective reports and the other things. Okay. Yeah, at high level, so where we will fit in our HR or the payroll process is that here at the high level, that is for India ledger, or let's say I want to fit in here at legal entity level. So I can fit in here. Okay. So payroll is basically ran for a set of entity, let's say. So this we know. So this is very basic. So that is this is ran for the set of unit, or probably let's say set of zonal or any set of classification that we have. So different organization might have different set of maintenance, wherein we might have the head office, zonal office, and the area and the other classification, or probably I'll have only one head office which will process the payroll for all these zonal offices. So it depends. Okay. So at high level, so at high level, this would be our organization structure. Okay. Yeah. So we'll move on. Or any doubt?
No, no, go ahead. I understood.
Okay. So what I'll do is that I'll share my screen. Okay. So before jumping into HRMS, so what I will do is that I'll give a brief introduction about few functionalities that we have under system administration. So whichever the stream that we are picking, so either I could be SEM, I could be a payroll consultant, or I could be a functional consultant. So anyone, he should be aware of this thing called system administration. So what are the things that we have under system administration is that we have something called menus and functions. So after menus and functions, we have user and we have responsibilities. Okay. So now first let's see what is user and why do we create user. So user creation is nothing but the process of giving the access to a particular employee. Okay. So it could be an employee or it could be an implementer. So in this case, what I will do is that I will query uh, the user that I have logged in. Okay, so this is the user that I have logged in. So if you see here, so I have list of responsibilities. So now what is responsibility is that, let's say I want to create an employee record. So I have a new joinee, so I will have to record it. Let's say he's an procurement consultant. So if I want to add any new entry, so what I will have to do is that initially I will need this access to create user. Okay. So after creating the user, what I will do is that I will attach the person after creating the employee record. So this will become our first step to create the user. So after creating the user, then we will have to create the employee record, that is creating this particular person as employee. So after creating as an employee, after attaching a person, so what we will do is that we will give the list of responsibilities. So now what is responsibility is that this is where actually we are giving access. Whether this person can create the employee or he can view the employee records or he will process only the payroll cycle or he will see only the reports. So this is where basically we are defining all those information. Okay. So now, how do I know whether this responsibility that I have assigned has read access or it has write access also, or I can see only report? So how do I understand? So let's take a responsibility called human resource. Okay. So let me copy this responsibility, and what I will do is that I will open this responsibility under this configuration called responsibility defined. Okay. So if I query this particular responsibility, so I will have two things here. So one is that menus, and the other thing is that request group. So what this menu will do is that it will give us certain functions that I can perform. I can do some entry, or I can run some program, or I can run some report, or whatever it is. So I can do it provided I have access. Okay. And on the other side, left and right hand side, we have a request group. So now what is request group is that it is a set of report that I can access. So let's say this particular employee which I have created will have access to only the employee record. So here, what I will do is that I will create a custom request group and I will restrict this particular person to see or access only the employee records. I will not give other information like the statement of earnings or the other things. I will not be giving to this particular employee. Okay. So this is where basically we are defining. Okay. So now let me take this particular menu and let me query this here. Okay. Yeah. So if you see here, so these are the functions that I have. Okay. Which means I can run the payroll, I can define the compensation, and I can see the payroll results or the other transaction results inside the payroll. And I can initiate the recruitment and I can enter I can add new employees. Okay, so these are the things that I can do. So let's say I don't understand what is people. So what I can do is that I can click on people, and after clicking view tree, I'll be able to see the relevant information. So this is nothing but a tree structure wherein I can drill down to multiple levels. Okay. So now I don't know what is inside people. So what I will do is that I'll extend this one. After enlarging, I'll see what is inside it. So here we can see that this is enter people, assignment, and applications. So which means whatever the new application or creation of new employee and the other details, so I will be able to do with this particular option. Okay. So this we can note it down, the function. Let's say I don't want this particular user to be accessible to this function. So what I can do is that I can copy this particular function and I can give the exception in responsibility. Okay. Yeah. So let me show it here. So how I can exclude any specific response, I mean the menu or the function. Okay, let me take the other one. Okay, so this is where I'll give. So here I can define whether I want to exclude the menu by itself or I want to exclude only the function. So if I say function, so whatever function we saw there, so simply we can type here and it is going to stay in the exclusion list. So until this is an exclusion list, so this particular, so who was the user who was attached with this responsibility, so we will not be able to access this function which we are attaching here. Okay. So that's the thing. And apart from that, we have the definition of application. So this we are just selecting. So these are seeded values given by Oracle using multiple validations and these things. Okay. Yeah, and that's about it. So that's about the user and the responsibility. Okay. And another thing that we have is that profile option. So now, why do I use profile option is that if I want to control, if I want to have a security to my system, who can see what? So this is where basically I will define each one of it. So let me query this particular responsibility called Bosch HRMS. Okay. So let me show what are the okay. Let me show you what are the responsibilities that I have attached. Okay. So here I have attached four responsibility for this particular user. So these are the four items that is mandatory to start our configurations. So initially I have attached HR user type. So that is it could be either only the HR entity or it is HR with payroll entity. So I have selected HR with payroll. And then after creating the business group, what I have done is that I have attached the business group here. Yeah, okay. So business group we saw. So what is business group? So after creating it, we will attach it here. And then we have the security profile. So what exactly is security profile is that, let's say I have 10 different HR organization. Okay. So now if I want to see the consolidated the entity list or the payroll process that I'm doing, so I will not give any security profile. So instead what I will do is that I will give this as an Bosch business group. So this will give me access to all the entities. But it is not the case for all the employees. So probably this we can give it for maybe the management or the senior manager, but it's not for all. So in this case, what we will do, we will set up a security rule wherein we have, let's say, 10 different HR organization. So this particular user will be able to see only the data related to HR organization A. So we will set up a security rule wherein we will attach only the company A. Okay, so this way we are restricting that this user will be able to see only this particular options or the entity details. So how we will define it is that we have a user. So I will just give the user and I can limit the access at this level. Okay, so that's about the profile option. Okay, so now what I will do is that I'll go to HRMS and this would be our first step to create the location. Okay. Okay, so let me create a location. So the reason why I will need location is that so this becomes our uh, uh, mandatory option to give as a part of complaint. So I'm just creating one simple thing. So without much detail, so I'm just creating a dummy one. Okay, so I have created this for the location, and now here if you see, so we have the shipping details. So this is not relevant to HRMS basically. So these are related to SCM. So there we have ship to and bill to details to be captured. So that is the thing. So I'm just using this details to create my business group and HR also. Okay, so always we should make sure that so this is the option that we will use for date tracker. So this is just an initial configuration. So I have changed here itself. But it's good to use this date tracker. Else, what will happen is that whatever the configuration that we did, so that will be applied on today's date. So always system will look for the system date. So it will take the latest date, and if at all I'm running for let's say 1st of June, the payroll process, so it will not process the payroll because the setups that I have done is for 27th of June. Okay, so that's why always it's good to have the date tracker. Okay, so I'm creating an business group, but how system will understand this is an business group is that using this classification, organization classification. So this is where basically I'm defining whether this is an business group or what exactly is this. Okay. So if I define this as a business group, I'll have to give few information to it. So what are those information? So these information are nothing but the what do you call the certain flex field combination that we will have to give. So now what exactly is flex field? So flex field is nothing but so this is kind of an security that is given by Oracle wherein I can secure my data entry and the other reporting aspects. So based on that, I will determine it. Okay. So let me navigate this. Okay, so this is the navigation that we will create the key flex field structure. So here, if you see, we have two flex fields. So one is key and the other one is descriptive. So descriptive is just additional information, so we don't need to bother about that. So those things we will see it at later sessions. So for now, what we will see is that we have two things. So one is that human resource related flex fields that we will have to give, and the other set is that this one, the payroll specific. Okay. So here, what are the flex field details or the combination that I will have to enter is that I have to give the grade, I have to give people, job, position, costing, and the competence. And these are the details that I will have to give. Okay. So here, totally we have four for HR and three for payroll. So initially what I will do is that I'll create for grade. So this is our grade flex field structure. So to add a new key flex field, that is for grade flex field. So what I'll do, I'll say control down arrow. So this will create a new record wherein I can enter. So I'll just say BM grade. Okay. So we have given a name for the structure, and after giving it, so we will have to give the segments. So segments we can define. So I mean we can decide based on the combinations that we will have to give. So probably in this case, what I will do is that I'll give two segments. So one is that BM grade name and the grade level. Okay, so now we have created the segment. So the next step is to create the value set. So the reason why I'm creating value set is that so I want to restrict or I want to secure the data entry how I'm making in the system. So what will happen is that so here if you see so we have list of validations that we can make. So we have dependent, we have independent, pair, special, and table. So what is the difference or at what cases I will use each one of it? So when I say independent, so this is not dependent on any another value set. So this is independent value set wherein I can just enter the values based on the value set that I have given here. So I will select only those values when I'm doing or adding any employees or probably entering any payroll details. So I will use only these details. Okay, so that is our independent validation. And dependent is something that, so this value set will depend on something else, which means this will stay as an child parameter. So unless I select the parent value, I will not be able to select the child value. So those case of value set, we call it as dependent value sets. Okay. And apart from that, what we will have to understand is that table, because pair and special are used for reporting purposes, wherein we will use the other combinations to fetch these details. So this is not needed. So what is needed is table. So table is something that we will store the values in table So this is more secure than the independent and dependent also, because what will happen is that in dependent and independent, even if I want to add values, if I have access, so I'll be able to add it. But table is something that it is under a specific person's control, wherein unless the value is there, I'll not be able to create any new record. Okay, so that's the three validations that we'll be using for our HRMS and payroll. So in this case, what I'll do is that I'll select this as an independent and let me create one for probably the grade name and grade level. Okay, and then I have security type. So security type is nothing but whether I want to inherit the security part that I have defined for my child. So this will not be applicable for independent. So I'm just selecting this as non-hierarchical. So in case I'm selecting this as an dependent. So in this case, this will make sense, which means we have this hierarchy based security, which means whatever the parent record it has been secured with, so the same security will apply for the child value also, which means for this particular segment, which we are creating as independent validation. Okay. So since we are selecting this as an, I mean, dependent validation. So since we are selecting this as an independent, I don't need to apply hierarchical security. So I'll say non-hierarchical security. Okay. And I'm just giving the size. So the size is nothing but the code that will be entering. So this I have given and it as sits. Okay. And so these are understandable. So this I have selected as a character. Okay. So let me save this and I'll create another one for grade level also. Okay. So I have selected this. Okay. Yeah, so I'll just save this and I'll let me close the screen. And now if we come to again the structure screen, so what we will see is that we will see a few options to freeze. So freeze is nothing but to saving this record, or probably we will not allow the what do you call the revision or the other details to be added to the existing structure. So this is added for security purpose. In case someone has access, we might change the details, which will cause the data corruption and the other issues. So to avoid it, what we are doing is that we are doing the freeze flex field definition. So before that, what we will do is that we will allow dynamic inserts. So what is dynamic insert is that now we have given two segments. So let's say for casting and the other thing, so we might give four or five segments also. So for those case, we cannot create each combinations individually. So for that reason, we are enabling this option, allow dynamic insert. So system is going to create those combinations on the fly. So we will see what is combination and these things when we see the payroll. So wherein we will do the GL segment file mapping. So by then we will see these details. So for now, this will create the multiple combinations that we are creating. Okay, so I'll just freeze this and compile. So compile is nothing but it is kind of an check wherein system will tell whether there are any exceptions in this particular structure. Okay, so now we have configured the grade flex field. Okay, so now next thing what we will do is that we will configure job flex field. So again, I'll query human resource, and here I'll select job flex field. Okay, so the same process. So I'll just say BM job. Okay. So again, job flex field, I'm not making it complete. So I'm just giving only the job code and job name. Okay. So similarly, I'll add the value set for this as well. Okay. So we have created the value set for both. So what I'll do, I'll just attach the one that we created against each one of the segment. Okay, so the same set of configuration. So I'm just freezing it and compiling it. Okay, so now we are done with the job as well. So the next thing would be to add our position as well. Okay. So now we have defined it for position as well. So the final one would be the competence. Okay. So I'll add it for the competence as well. Uh, Okay. So we have defined for for competence also. So now we are done with configuring for four key flex fields that we will have to do for the HRMS. So the other three part that we have is for payroll processing. So for payroll processing, what are the KFF that we have is that we have group, which is nothing but the people KFF, and then we have costing, and then we have the bank details key flex fields. If at all I want to give the bank details of this particular thing. Okay. So what I will do is that I will let me create first the group. Okay. So let me pick a group first. Okay. So let me not extend this one also. So what I will do is that I'll give a simple the group segment structure. So that is, let me give group ID and group name. Okay, so now we are done with the people group combination also. Okay, so the next thing what I will do is that I'll add the bank details also. I'll navigate again, and under the payroll, I have bank details that I can add. Okay, so we have defined our bank account details also. So the final KFF that we will have to define is nothing but the cost KFF, costing part. Okay, so what I'll do is that firstly I'll check the combination that is used in GL chart of accounts. So the reason why I will need this to be verified first is that unless I have this mapped correctly, so I'll not be able to push the transaction that is being created in payroll. So as a part of the processing, so we will have to push the transactions to the accounting module, which is general ledger. So I will need to understand what is the structure they have used here. So what I will do is that I will use this particular combination and I will use the costing segments similar to this so that there will be no discrepancies between the accounting module and the payroll module. Okay. So let me navigate back to payroll costing and let me define one. Okay, so my first segment would be VM company. This is segment one. Okay, and my second segment would be my department. Say again, VM department. Okay, so my third thing would be VM account. So this is not necessary that I should have in the same sequence that I have created the accounting chart of accounts or the segment structure. But I will need these five segments. So probably instead of saying company, I could say this as an BM payroll also. But provided I have five segments that has been defined. Okay. So now what I'll do is that I will create the value set for each one of it. So I have added totally five segments. So my first segment would be company department. So I did not change any sequence to have the same order. So, but that is not necessary that I will have to have in the same order. But I will have to do the correct mapping in payroll. So we will see that. So how to do the mapping. So for now, the understanding is that our GL and payroll costing KFF. So this should match. Okay. So now we have created the segment. So here, what I will do is that I have a set of qualifiers that I will assign. Now, what is qualifier is that it is nothing but an reporting details wherein there are a few validations to give. So probably for this company. what I will do is that I'll give this as an 3. So similarly, I'll just have to give for the other segments as well. Okay, so now we are done with the KFF configurations. So we will have to navigate back to the human resource responsibility. And here we will navigate to work structure under this organization. So now we created the business unit called BM Business Group. So we will attach those KFF that we created to this particular business group that we created. Okay, so I'll just give the business group. So what are the mandatory information that we will have to give is that how we want to generate our employment number or the application number, and how do we want to use the KFF. So these are the basic informations that we'll be giving here. So I'm just giving this as an automatic. So that is for all this number generation. So I'm giving this. Okay, so now we have defined our business group. So what is next step is that to create the HR organization. So here I can do this thing. So if I have a requirement wherein I want to define my business group as my HR organization, because what will happen is that only my head office has access to run the payroll processing. So in this case, I don't need a separate HR entity. So for those case, I'll just query the business group that I created, and I will attach the classification as business group. But here what we are doing is that we are creating a separate HR organization for the purpose of payroll. Okay, since I have selected this as an India localization, I mean the location as India. So I will have to give the government reporting entity and these details. So wherein I'll have to supply the mandatory information. So let me fill in these details. Okay, so these are only the additional information so that will be giving. So in case I have a parent organization, so wherein I will have to link. So for those case, probably I'll give the parent organization, and if I want to give the payslip and the costing information, so that I can give it here. So for now, I'm not giving these details. Okay. Yeah. So as a next step, what I will do, I'll create the job and position. So the navigation is that I have here job under work structure. Okay, before that, what I will do is that I will create a separate responsibility for this particular process. Okay, so let me create one. Let me pick the menu that we'll be using. Okay, let me pick the menu name and probably I'll create a new one. Okay, so now we have created the responsibility. So I'll just attach this to the user. So now we have created this. So also I will attach the profile options that is needed. Okay, so I have attached this. So security profile, I'm not setting it at this point. Okay, so now I'll log into this one and I'll create one job. Okay, security profile is the issue. Okay, let me create security. I mean, let me assign it, and then probably I'll start using this responsibility. Okay, I think this is now assigned to it. For now, let me give only the business group. Okay, so now I have created this. So what I'll do is that I will run an concurrent program called security maintenance. So the reason why I will run this program is that this is going to update. I mean, this is auto sync. It will happen automatically, but some cases it might stuck. So for that reason, I'm running this security list maintenance. Just give me a minute. Okay, yeah, our security role is done. Okay, I did not add values. So let me add a few values to it. Okay, I think it is almost 9 o'clock. Okay, so probably we will connect tomorrow again. Okay. Any doubt or any clarification that you have?
So starting, you tell me one structure, no, sir.
Yeah, yes, yes.
That one, can you repeat again, sir? I'm not repeating that one.
Yeah, sure. 1 minute. Okay. So this is nothing but the enterprise or organization structure, which means whatever the company that we are implementing for Oracle, probably the HRMS only or HRMS with payroll processing. So any company will have any set of structure. So how they want to manage their business or how they want to take out the reporting and the other aspects. Okay. So in this part, what we need to understand with respect to payroll processing is that uh, the first thing is that business group. So business group is created inside HRMS. So that is first thing. So we will need to understand what is business group basically. So business group is nothing but a consolidated of an organization wherein we will have the HR organization under this. We will have inventory organization. You will have ledger, legal entity, OU, everything will come under this one particular entity called business group. So now this business group, yeah, and apart from that, we also have the line of business. So line of business is nothing but we have the telecom business, we have probably the IT business, and also probably we will have mining and the natural resource business. Okay, so here, so these three are different set of line of business. So now, if I want to consolidate and take report out of it, what I will say is that this comes under business group. So under business group, I can manage in two ways. So either I can create separate ledger for each of the business unit or the line of business, or what I can do is that I can manage at my the segments. So we created multiple KFF, right? So similarly, we will have a set of segments that is created in GL also. So which we saw the accounting structure. So here I can manage, or most probably what I will do is that I will create a separate ledger for it. So now, since the line of business is different, so even though I have one business group, under that I have all the list of line of business and all the HR organization created under that. Still, what I will do is that I will have a separate payroll entity for my, let's say, IT, and I will have a separate line of business for my telecom business. So similarly, I will have it for other business also. Okay. So in terms of payroll and the HR employee maintenance, we will have to understand two things here. So one is that business group. So this is nothing but the consolidated entity. So above this, we will not have any parent organization structure involved in it. Okay, first thing. And second thing is that HR organization. So HR organization is defined on the basis of the what do you call the line of business. So if I have one line of business, then what I will do is that probably I will again drill down into multiple pieces wherein I will look for the other offices, how this particular client or the customer has their existing process of capturing the employee information, whether they have records only in headquarters or they have records also in the zonal office and the other offices also. So I will study this structure, how they are maintaining as a current process flow. Okay. So after identifying, we will suggest this is the structure that we can have for the new system that we are going to implement. That is nothing but R12, the Oracle R12 environment. So we will suggest in a way that we can have this many HR organization and we can have this many business group and this thing. So similarly from finance, they will suggest we can have this many ledger and legal entity and operating unit. Okay. So this entire details or this entire organization will build our organization structure. Okay. Any doubt?
Understood.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, yes, mother.
Sir, I have one doubt, sir.
Yeah, yes, mother.
Sir, while defining KFF, key flex
Mm,
fields,
yeah.
uh, initially you created new flex fields in System Navigator.
Mm,
Then only you attach it to BG. Before defining BG, you created flex field and then only you attach it to BG
mm,
definition.
yeah, correct.
Oh, sir, if I created a BG with the standards, for example, if I am using job flex field as the standard one, and for cost flex field, I'm using cost allocation, same standard of flex field. After creating a BG, whether can
Okay.
I change the KFF after
No,
creation? Hmm?
no, after that, we cannot change it for a different reason, for security reason basically, because what will happen is that once we attach those KFF there, so system will store these data in our tables. So now, if we change it, so system will, so there are a set of procedures which will work for updation. But there are many chances that this updation will not work. So that is the reason this particular field whatever the flex field that we are attaching. So these fields will be frozen. So once we give. So even if you try to query it, I mean, you will be able to check it. But if you check there, you will see only one list of value that will appear. The reason being is that it is frozen. So you'll not be able to change anything apart from the value that we have given there. I mean the KFF what we have given. So you will not be able to change it once you have attached or saved the records.
Sir, another one. On the day I asked myself if I am creating a new job, you said that by using Hatch you can create a new jobs.
Mm. Yeah, correct.
Uh, if it is okay, then why are we describing KFF? We can go with the standards and describe provide new jobs. No, by using
Yeah, we
Hatch
can
method,
create.
we can also. There are both possible ways. No, sir.
Yes, yes, we can create the standard one also. So,
Uh,
but this is vision environment, I mean the practice environment. So we can have our standard thing, but usually as in practice, we will have, I mean, in terms of implementation, I'm saying, so we will
mm,
have our own custom segments that has been defined for job position and these things especially. So that is
okay,
the
sir.
reason I was showing this one because earlier one what we saw is that with standard one. So when we saw initially we saw the standard one. So not to repeat it, I created the new KFF.
Okay. So there are two possibilities. We can
Yes,
follow any of these. Okay, sir.
yes, yes, correct.
Sir, another one. So after creating BG, I am
Mm.
using Vision Standard as an Vision operation as an standard one.
Okay.
After creating my BG, whether I have to create a responsibility for my business group. For example, if I have to include HRMS, SCM for each and everyone, I have to develop. I have to create a responsibility. But
Yeah, yeah.
how to improve the functionalities in the responsibilities? Whether the standard functionalities will be available in the responsibility I am creating.
Yeah. So how we will determine whether I have access to enter employee or process payroll or to run
That's by
reports. So this is
security
determined.
profile.
No, not exactly security profile. So security profile is restricting the companies that I can view. So let's say
Okay.
I have 10 different companies. If I should view only two companies, so this is being done by a security profile. But what are
Okay.
the functionalities that I can access or what I can do with this responsibility is defined by menus and
Okay.
reports. So reports is something that let's say I have 10 reports. If I want to give access only for two reports, so that I can restrict at that level. And functionalities I'm defining at menu creation.
So then means after creating my responsibility, I have to provide the functionalities. There
No,
will be no functionality as the standard one for my responsibility.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So how we will determine is that we will get the requirement from business or the client. Okay,
Okay.
so they will give us the list of employees, and they also will give us the list of functionalities that they are doing. So
Okay.
accordingly, we will customize our menus. So after customizing it, what we will do is that we will attach it when we are creating the responsibility. Because in the responsibility screen, if you see, we under this one, what do you call the the standard setups, we have the menus to be attached there. And exactly on the right hand side, we also have option to attach the list of reports. Okay, so this is how we will define it.
Sir, is it mandatory to create a responsibility after creating a BG?
Yeah, I mean, for practice purpose, it is not
No,
necessary.
I am asking in real time.
In real time, definitely you will need responsibility. Without that, you
Then
will
it
not
means
create, no, because you will have multiple users. So for all
uh,
users, you cannot give one single responsibility, right? So we will need multiple responsibilities to be created. So this will be maintained by system administrator. So
mhm.
initially, while implementing, we will do it, but after that, it will be maintained by the administrator.
So another doubt, sir, if there is a two HR consultant for a single project, then
Okay.
means each of them will have a separate responsibility.
It is
Say,
not mandatory. There are chances you can have multiple responsibilities also, provided they want to restrict something, so they can do so.
it means
But that is not mandatory. You can use the same responsibility also.
okay, sir. That's so another one, sir. So
Yeah.
while defining cost allocation flex field,
Mm.
there five values are there that are standard values that cannot be changed. But you enabled few of them, you enabled and few of them you disabled. What for what purpose we are enabling and disabling? What I have to enable, what I have to disable.
You're saying about segments or the qualifiers? I think you're saying about the qualifiers. So if
Yes, qualification you enabled, few you
yeah,
enabled and few you disabled. Why I
yeah.
have to do that?
Yeah, so why we will do this is that, for example, okay, let me navigate back to the screen and probably I'll show it from there.
Okay.
Okay, so now if you see here, so let me take first segment. So this is company. So for company, what I have given is that assignment, balancing, and payroll. So the reason why I have given balancing for all the segment is that, so unless I give this particular qualifier as balancing, I will not be able to see this when I'm creating this payment method. We have this balancing and these things. So whichever segment we are missing this balancing, so those will not have values to be added. System will not generate those combination for those entries. So that is the reason I have attached this balancing. So balancing is nothing but, so by definition, it is nothing but our, so this is basically a finance term. So our debit and credit will be equal. Okay. So this is our basis. So this is the definition of balancing. So in payroll, what is this definition is that this is nothing but the transaction, whatever we are doing here in payroll processing. So this should be transferred to the respective accounting module, that is GL. So if at all I want to transfer those entries, I will have to enable this option called balancing. So unless I give this, so system is not going to generate the values for this particular segment. Okay. So this is balancing. And then I have the assignment. So let's say assignment is nothing but our employer records assigning and these details. So if at all I want to use this particular segment there, so I can enable this option. Okay. So similarly, we have our element and element entry. So the difference between element and element entry is that element is nothing but the creation stage. But element entry is nothing but we are assigning this particular created element to the employee. Okay. So that is the difference. So similarly, I have the organization and payroll. So here, organization is nothing but HR entity, but the payroll is nothing but the payroll org that will be creating under payroll description. Okay. So now, how do I define that I want to give only this set of parameters? Because if you look at the finance accounting structure, so we cannot create or we cannot attach more than one qualifier to one segment. But in payroll, that is not the case. I can attach any number of segment. Let's say I want to assign, let's say, all the six qualifiers to the company segment. So very well, I can assign all those particular qualifiers to this. But we should think though that for what purpose I'm attaching these parameters. So in this case, the understanding is that the company segment which I have defined will be used for my balancing. Definitely, I will need it for balancing, and also I will need it for assignment and the payroll also. Okay. So this is how I will define. So basically, based on the requirement, I will say what are the segments that I need. But this is not restrictive. You can give any number of qualifiers. I mean, under this sits.
Okay, sir, got it.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else?
Sir, mine, sir. Sir, I
Mm.
created a BG, sir,
Okay.
but I can't able to run payroll for a single quick pay for a single employee.
Okay.
I am using mission standard as a responsibility. Whether it is the issue?
No, that is not the issue. Tell me your I think I did not freeze this. Let me freeze this. Yeah, you are using this human resource standard responsibility, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you have created one employee.
Yes, sir.
Give me this employee name.
Employee number 4114.
Okay.
Employee number. Yes, sir. This one. Created assignment also.
Okay, I think you have to give the payroll also, because what will happen is that based on the payroll that we have defined,
Payroll
so
name is
the
MB payroll, sir. MB under scope of payroll. I created on the day.
this
MB
one.
monthly pay. Second one, sir. Second one. Yes, sir. That I created.
Okay.
Correction. Sir, his nationality is Indian.
Sorry.
His nationality is Indian, sir. Indian
Okay.
citizen. You create Indian citizen. So can we search for Chennai, sir? Will it be there?
Yeah, even that's what I was trying, but it's not appearing.
Okay. City is a mandatory one, so you cannot avoid. Sir, let's change the country, sir. You can change the country now.
Okay, country to selected as US.
Uh,
We should show all the countries. Why this is showing?
yes.
So, what is the business group that you are using?
Yeah, it's an organization, sir. Now MB payroll unit is an organization. Business group is MB under scope of business group.
Okay.
MB payroll unit, sir. Ah,
Okay, let me check the business group. This is Chennai.
so on the day only I enabled the legal entity because I cannot run the payroll, so I enabled it.
Okay. It is India. Okay. There is a possibility that there are issues with this one. Territory sync up. So probably let me check this. Because
Okay,
test
sir.
instance, so we cannot achieve this.
Okay. So
So
another
for
doubt. Sir, if I have there are if I am for a project if I am running, if a customer says that he has 10 jobs, then I
okay.
have to create each 10 jobs, no?
Yeah, yes, separately.
But for example, if there are 10 jobs, there are senior engineer, assistant engineer. But the considering employees, there will be multiple number of employees. There will be nearly 100 employees.
Yeah,
Whether I
correct.
have to create nearly 100 employees by
No, you don't need to create a separate job for all 100. So what we will do is that, let's say, so this is based on the department and the job code and the other details that is present in the company existing flow. Okay, so now let's say I'm creating 10 different job and position. Let's say executive and let's say admin, and let's say I'm creating one for management and the accounts. So if I say accounts, So I will again segregate this into three pieces. So one is junior, one is mid-range, and the other one is that senior. So under this three categorization, probably I'll have 10 or 20 or 30 employees. Okay. So this way I will categorize, but I'll not create a separate job for each one of the employees.
Sir, for contingency worker also we have to maintain the records.
Yes, there are
But
possibilities. So contingent
but
workers is a contract. So contract that depends on the company policy whether they have the contract employees. So if at all they
there
have, you will
will
have to
be
maintain.
many contracts.
Sorry.
But Arun, I have one doubt
Sir,
in
there
what
will
you
be
said.
Mm,
You said like we don't have to give, need to prepare records for each designation, and
yeah,
you categorize it as junior, mid, and top management or whatever.
correct,
No?
correct.
But how come in a payroll we will have, in an executive self, if the executive is in a entry level job,
Mm,
he will be in a, junior level. Okay,
okay.
then we will have another executive in a different function, but
Mm,
he will be placed in a middle management. So,
mm.
how is it possible for us? If we need to enter all the employees' name and records into the pay, or whoever we have it in the payroll should be there as a record here, right? Then only we can
Yeah.
process the salary or anything, whatever. I'm just asking.
Definitely, definitely, you will create this employee record. So what I was saying is that, so this is our employee maintenance screen where let's say
Okay.
this is an Kumar and
Huh.
another employee, I will create this as an Ajit, but I
Okay.
will not create multiple job and position. So this Ajit and Kumar are two different employees, but the
Okay.
job or the position they are working is same, which means they are into let's say accountant junior level. So what I will do is that I will create one employee as Kumar and I will say job as let's say junior and position I will maintain as accountant. Similarly,
What
I'll
about if
create
they have
another.
two different business units? Like, for example, if we take Reliance itself, if one
Hmm,
accountant is from the digital media or something, the other one is from the
hmm.
retail, and but both of them's designation is accountant.
Okay.
So, how will we differentiate between those two? That, and also, I want to know how do you add the competencies for them? You were telling about the
Hmm,
competencies also earlier.
hmm.
Is that
So
so? The
here,
competence, yeah.
yeah. So here, how this will work is that so this what we are seeing here is only the payroll and the HRMS entity. But let's say he's working for two different entity. So what we will do is that we will create two different responsibilities. So let's say I have unit A and unit B that he will be working for. So I will create two different responsibilities, let's say AP and AR, and I will assign this to organization for this two different responsibilities. So he will access those two units and he'll be able to work under that particular unit, whatever the role is into. If at all he want to enter any entry, so he can enter the details in those two entry. I mean those two offices. So that is different process. So this we are saying as an only the payroll processing.
Okay. I'm still confused, but still go on. Like, I'll just make sure
Uh,
I put
yeah,
on my this thing very clearly later. Just carry on. Yeah, yeah. You go ahead.
no problem. Just give me a minute. Let me explain it. Okay, so now let's say Kumar is working under AR Okay, and let's say A and B are. Ajit is working for B and C. So the position is that, let's say they are into accountant. Okay, they are into junior accountant role. So now, what we are speaking about is HR entity. So they will not be attached with multiple HR organization for the reason being, so I have one centralized application, that is Oracle ERP, which will run for all the employees based on the condition and the criteria that I have set. So here, let me reduce it to 1 hour to reduce the complications. So I'm not getting into more details as of now. So now they are working under different companies. So even though the position is same, so they are working under different entities or different locations. So let's say Kumar is working for A and B. So now how we will differentiate this is that this is not an the HR entity that we are saying. So this is into finance. So for finance, we have something called general ledger module. So when we say this is an GL, so we have a different thing. So whether GL user or GL manager or let's say GL super user. So now if this particular employee, what we are saying is an senior manager, so I will give the GL super user. If he is mid-range, probably I'll give this one manager. But he is only the junior. So what I will do is that I will assign only this particular responsibility. So I will assign it for Kumar and I'll also assign it for Ajit. So now I have something called security profile. So what exactly is this security profile is that it will limit access to any particular employee. So this can be categorized at multiple level. So this can be categorized at HRR, or it can be categorized as inventory org, or it can be categorized as ledger name. Okay, and also it can be categorized as OU name. Okay, and similarly I can categorize under different units. So now in this case, if you see, A and B is nothing but my ledger, because we are speaking about the accounting and the journal entries that this particular two resource will be entering. So this will fall under general ledger. So I will have two different ledgers, that is ledger A, I'll have ledger B, I'll have ledger C. So now what I will do is that I will create a security profile stating that A and B security profile. Okay. And also I will create another security profile which contains B and C. Okay. So this I will assign it to a responsibility, and this will be attached to the user. So which user will attach is that this particular employee will have user, let's say SH9012. So this is the user ID for this particular user called Kumar. So now 15 for Ajit. So I will create, so what are the steps involved here is that I will create a user, I will create a responsibility, okay, and I will create a security profile separately for both the employee, okay. So after creating it, what I will do, I will attach this responsibility. I mean, I will attach profile option. So I can attach either to any particular user or responsibility. Since here it differs, what I will do is that I will attach it to the user instead of attaching directly to the employee. Okay. So now, yeah, also I will run the security maintenance program. to update the security details, whatever I have created or attached to this users. So now, if this particular ID is being opened up, that is SH 9012. So what this particular user will see is that A and B ledger. So whatever he wants to do the journal entry or probably the accounting of any information, so that he can do very well based on the security rule that I have attached. So now I have SH 9015. So here also similarly I have these details that I can attach. Okay. So similarly, based on the security profile, I can give those details. So this we are speaking about the GL user. Okay. So now let's say I have probably the inventory user. So in this case, how I will differentiate is that using the inventory arc. So I will not attach the GL ledger and these details. So instead, I will assign A inventory, B inventory, and probably at that level, I can maintain those access. So this way I can segregate and I can give it. But the payroll entity which we were speaking about will be always one. The reason being is that this particular employee is not attached or working as a payroll consultant or probably the HR or any other role. But his department is completely different. So based on that, we will attach the responsibility and give the access. Okay. Is that clear now? Are still not clear? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is clear, or
Sir.
yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, another one doubt, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
Sir, after defining payroll only, we can create element set.
Yeah. Correct.
After defining payroll only, we can create element.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. That's
Because when we are linking this elements with our employees, so we will have to link it with payroll. So that becomes our mandatory step. So that's the reason.
okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
Sir, can you see batch pay tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We will complete this overview and then we will start with this thing. We are almost through, so probably we'll try to see tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you, Arun. It was
Yeah,
quite useful overview, but still I'm yet to get a hang of it.
yeah, sure. I mean, you can go through these videos and let me know
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you have queries.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah, fine. Then maybe we can wind up for today. Maybe we'll join tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, fine.
Okay, sir. Good night, sir.
Yeah, good night.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Good night, sir.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah,
Bye.
good night. Good night, guys.
Good
Good
night,
night.
ma'am.